You ever notice how the quietest days in suburbia can explode out of nowhere? One minute you're just watching the breeze ruffle the trees. The next you're the villain in a neighborhood drama worthy of daytime TV? Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me the day two cops showed up in my backyard. Sirens blaring, sun glinting off their cruisers, and a red-faced teenager named Derek pointing at me like he'd just caught me robbing the local bank. He was shouting, "She locked me out of the pool. My mom says it's community property." So loud the neighbor's dog started barking, and for a split second, I actually laughed, because if you don't laugh, you'll cry. You know what I mean? But to really get why that moment mattered, I have to rewind. 6 months before, I was just a tired single mom named Melissa, fighting for every dime after a rough divorce, renting a shoebox apartment with my 8-year-old daughter Emma. My only dream was a patch of grass for her to run barefoot. And if the universe was feeling generous, maybe a little pool in the yard. Out of the blue, my realtor called, foreclosure in Maplewood Estates, for bedrooms, two-car garage, and yes, a sparkling in-ground pool out back. It was barely in my price range, but I jumped. The previous owner lost everything. The HOA was long dissolved, and my lawyer swore up and down that this house was mine, clean and clear, no hidden rules, no obligations to anyone. I could finally breathe. At first, it was heaven. Emma laughed all summer, splashing around like we'd won the lottery. Neighbors waved. Some even brought over cookies. And for once, I thought we'd landed in a place where nothing could go wrong. Then, on a Saturday morning, everything shifted. Knock on the door. There stood Karen Whitmore, a local queen bee, with hair sprayed into submission and her teenage son Derek looming behind her, all attitude and muscle. Karen, self-declared community coordinator, smiled like a shark and announced that, according to tradition, my pool had always been the neighborhood hangout. "It's just what we do here," she purred, as if inviting strangers to swim in my backyard was some sacred rite of passage. Now, I'm all for being neighborly, but boundaries exist for a reason. I explained, as gently as I could, that my lawyer checked every line. No shared access, no easement, nothing in writing. Karen's smile twitched. She leaned in, voice soft, almost threatening. "We're a community. We look out for each other here. You wouldn't want to be the one who ruins that, would you?" Derek stared daggers past me at the pool, and from then on, things got weird. Wet towels appeared on my lounge chairs when I wasn't home. Footprints tracked across my deck. Teenagers loitered by the fence, eyes full of silent challenge. I found beer cans in my flower beds, graffiti on my fence, and, my breaking point, a midnight pool party raging in my backyard, Derek and his friends acting like it was the YMCA. When I confronted them, Derek said, dead serious, "My mom said I could. You can't stop us." I told them to get out, or I'd call the police. Derek glared. "This isn't over." He meant it. That night, I locked the gate, posted "no trespassing" signs, and started researching security cameras. Karen wasn't done. Oh no. She unleashed a Facebook campaign, spinning me as the evil outsider hoarding community resources. She never said my name, but everyone knew. Some folks sided with her, but more started reaching out in private, telling me Karen had always bullied her way through the neighborhood, even after the HOA bit the dust. Still, Derek kept sneaking in. He scaled the fence. He was relentless. The last straw came one afternoon when I caught him red-handed, alone in my pool. He shrugged, said he'd left something behind, then muttered, "You'll regret this. This pool belongs to us." That night, I barely slept. I hired a lawyer who confirmed, again, my deed was ironclad. The pool, the yard, every inch was mine. Cameras went up, all angles covered. Next morning, I caught Derek on camera, swimming like nothing had changed. This time, I marched out, phone in hand, video rolling. I told him to leave, warned him about the footage, and he, still defiant, told me his mother said I was stealing from the whole neighborhood. He stormed off, and I knew where he was headed. Sure enough, 2 police cruisers arrived an hour later. Derek was in full performance mode, spinning tales about the community pool and my supposed threats. The officers listened, calm but skeptical. I handed over my deed, complete with official seal. They checked county records. Turns out, Karen had lied to everyone. No community access, no HOA, no nothing. While they read the documents, Karen stormed over, voice rising, calling me a thief and the police dupes for believing paperwork over community tradition. But the law was the law. The officers calmly explained, my pool, my property, end of story. Karen tried to argue, but there was nothing left. Her son had trespassed, called in a false report, and now both faced warnings, publicly, right there with the neighbors watching. Karen's face was a masterclass in humiliation. Derek mumbled an apology, suddenly all out of swagger. After the cops left, neighbors came over to support me, some apologizing for ever doubting my side. The next few weeks, Karen and Derek disappeared. Her Facebook crusade vanished, and peace finally settled over my backyard. I started rebuilding, taller fences, better lights, more cameras. Even got a handwritten apology from Karen's husband, David, who confessed he hadn't known the truth, admitted Karen made it up because she couldn't accept losing her pool. He asked me not to press charges, promised it would never happen again, and you know what? For the first time, I believed him. Life returned to normal. Emma had her friends over, real friends, not entitled trespassers. The other parents thanked me for the invite, told me how beautiful the pool looked, and the message was clear. This was a family home, not a free-for-all. Even the wildlife came back. Emma started a journal for the birds and deer caught on the cameras. Karen faded into the background, her influence shot. Derek, once the loudest kid on the block, couldn't look me in the eye. The cops' intervention had shifted the whole vibe. Neighbors talked more openly. Some even dug out their own deeds to check what was really theirs. By fall, the pool cover was on, and for the first time in a long time, I felt safe, proud, and content. The letter from David stayed in my desk, a reminder that you have to fight for what's right, even if it makes you unpopular. This whole ordeal taught me about boundaries, about standing up to bullies, and about the power of real, legal proof over rumor and tradition. And if you're wondering whether Karen ever tried anything again, she didn't. Sometimes justice is as simple as a locked gate and a neighborhood finally waking up. But let's be real. What would you have done? If you were in my shoes, would you have caved for the sake of community spirit or stood your ground like I did? I'd love to hear your take. Share your thoughts. What's fair? What's right? And when does community become control? Drop your comments below, because these battles are happening everywhere, and the conversation is far from over. You know, I really believe that after all the chaos with the pool and the neighborhood showdown, life would finally settle down. I mean, I put up a new fence, installed cameras, made peace with most of the neighbors, and even got that handwritten apology from David Whitmore. I figured, maybe, just maybe, people can let go and move on, right? Turns out, suburbia's memory is long, and some grudges have deep roots, way deeper than any backyard pool. Spring rolled around, picture perfect, and for a while, things seemed almost like a feel-good family movie. Birds chirping, Emma planning her 9th birthday, new friends coming over after school. Even a couple of the parents who'd once given me the cold shoulder started being friendlier, like last summer's drama was finally water under the bridge. Sometimes, I'd bump into David at the grocery store, and he'd give me a look equal parts sheepish and relieved. Emma was happier than ever. She thought the neighborhood had finally accepted us, and for a while, I let myself believe that too. But there was still that tension lurking at the edges. Karen, well, she was never far from my mind. She'd walk her dog past our house, but always avoided eye contact, sometimes even crossing the street like she was allergic to my property line. Derek? The kid disappeared. Word was, he'd been seeing a counselor since the incident with the police, and he'd written me, and a few other neighbors, those apology letters the cops insisted on. I kept the letters in a drawer, not because I wanted to remember the drama, but because, well, I guess part of me still needed proof that all of it really happened. For a while, things were quiet. Then, one morning, Emma came running in from school, her face pale. "Mom, someone said you're the mean lady who won't let the other kids use the pool." My stomach dropped. Turns out, some parents had been rehashing the whole story, but with their own spin on things. And even though Karen hadn't come out swinging in person, you could feel her fingerprints all over those whispers. I wanted to ignore it, but how can you ignore something that's making your own kid feel like an outsider in her own home? So, I did something I never thought I'd do. I invited a few of the friendlier families over for tea. I didn't defend myself. I just told the story, straight from my heart, of why I stood my ground. That I wasn't trying to be the villain, that I just wanted a safe space for Emma after years of struggling. To my surprise, people listened. Some even apologized for believing the gossip. After that, parents started letting their kids come over for playdates again, and for Emma's birthday, we actually had a little pool party, by invitation, not open season. It was a small victory, but it felt huge. Then came the twist, because what's a suburban story without a plot twist? One rainy afternoon, there's a knock at the door. 2 police officers, again. For a second, my heart stopped. Was Derek back at it? But no, this time it was an anonymous complaint to the city. Someone accused me of building a fence without a permit, claimed it was ruining the look of the neighborhood, and threatening local wildlife. Sound familiar? Yeah, we all knew whose playbook that came from. But Karen still wouldn't show her face. I handed the officers every document I had. Permits, plans, receipts. I'd made sure, after last year, that everything was by the book. The cops checked, nodded, and told me, "Someone clearly has it out for you. But you're solid." If only it stopped there. A few weeks later, the neighborhood Facebook group blew up with a thread about tall fences destroying our friendly, open-door tradition. People posted angry emojis, some even took photos of my fence, anonymous, of course. But here's the kicker. This time, other voices chimed in to defend me. Even a couple of older neighbors, who'd always stayed out of the drama, wrote, "She's been through enough," or "Privacy is a right, not a privilege." I could tell the tide had turned. At least a little. It made me realize that the fence and the pool and all these petty battles were really just the surface. Underneath, this was about change, about old habits smashing into modern boundaries, about how some people feel threatened when someone new draws a line in the sand. I stopped caring if everyone liked me. I just wanted Emma to know that sometimes standing up for yourself means being misunderstood, even hated, and that's okay. After that last Facebook flare-up, Karen pretty much vanished from neighborhood life. I heard she started seeing a therapist. Some said her husband took the family on a long vacation to cool off. Whatever the truth was, she wasn't walking her dog past my house anymore. Derek? He still avoided eye contact, but he seemed quieter, maybe even humbled. I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. Every morning, I'd see my fence out the kitchen window and remind myself, freedom doesn't come easy. It takes boundaries, patience, and the guts to say no when everyone else wants you to say yes. Most evenings, Emma and I would sit by the pool, just enjoying the quiet, and I'd promise myself that, if another round of drama ever started, I wouldn't back down to us. Oh, let me ask you. What would you do? Would you blend in at any cost, or draw your line in the sand, no matter the gossip? Do you believe in personal freedom, even when it ruffles feathers in the so-called community? Share your thoughts. I honestly think every home is a little fortress, and everyone deserves respect and peace within their own walls.